Hola, buenos días.
Buenas tardes, buenas noches.
This is Barb.
And this is Estela.
And welcome to
Cafecito.
And Crime. Welcome back, sister. We're running a little bit late. I'm so sorry about that. I was telling Estela that I really wanted to make sure that I started the case last minute, obviously, because that's what I do, and I have ADD. So that's what people with ADD do.
I'll keep her in track for next time.
Yeah. It has to happen. But so how are you been, sister?
I've been good. How have you been?
I've been okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I think at the end of the day, everything could be better, but not. I mean, what can we do? I do have a problem right now. So, a story of Barb and what's going on this week. So, my cat and my dog hate each other.
No.
Well, my cat is scared of my dog, right? So
and vice versa.
And vice versa. But my cat beats the dog
because she's scared.
So then, but the dog wants to smell her because he's a dog. And that's what he does.
And then she runs, so
he runs after her. And then they're like, he barks at her, and then she'll slap him. And it's like a whole deal. Like, we've been having this all week. Like, it's to a point where...
It's been like a month by now.
Yeah. Well, because it's getting worse now because... Like at nighttime, he's cool with her being downstairs. So she's roaming the streets. Well, the house.
The first floor.
The first floor. Y luego, pero en la tarde, when we're awake, like
everybody's out.
Everybody's, yeah.
Like around, like roaming around.
I was telling my sister that, because she has like 15 cats. So I was telling her what was happening.
It's not an exaggeration.
No, she really does have like 13. And so then she was telling me que the cat that she had does that too. Pero que she's like, I think that they want everybody, because I was reading online that the cats think that you left them. So then once we're all upstairs, she can see us all up there, because as soon as my husband goes upstairs, she's chill. Pero when somebody's downstairs, she wants to come down.
But do you think it's just him?
It's him, I guess. But anyway, she sleeps with me. So she sleeps with me no matter what every day. She has to sleep by me, or at least touching me, to a point where like she's like doing this, like it's kind of like just holding out her
like a kid.
Mano, like a kid. So I mean, I'm cool with it. I don't mind. But yeah, so that's the problem not a problem, but the little inconvenience that we're having right now. So we got an idea, a ver cómo nos va. Pero wish us luck. I don't know how people, if y'all know, like, I know that we always ask our listeners something, but I really need help. Like, I really want to know, have y'all had this problem before? Like, is there something that I should be doing?
It just needs time. But I mean,
it's been a month.
But I haven't really tried much of it.
Yes, we have. Like, Alex se la trae cargada. I read somewhere que si les daba snacks de la misma mano and they could smell each other. I did that. I gave them sausages. Like, I've tried it all. Like, to where it's like, oh, it's a treat for you, but you too, you know?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, it's okay. So then I try to calm down my dog, and then he's like,
he doesn't
not having
listen.
it. Yeah, so I don't know. So if anybody has any suggestions, that would be great.
Please.
Yeah. So today I will be talking or discussing the case, and we are actually going to be discussing the case of Iyana Sawyer.
Okay.
Okay. And Iyana Sawyer case is from Jacksonville, Florida.
Okay.
So we are going to Jacksonville, Florida. Mm-hmm. So if you would like to come with us to Jacksonville, Florida, grab your cafecitos.
And let's get started.
So a fun, interesting, random fact. I found quite a bit of stuff
for Jacksonville.
Mm-hmm. But I read them to my husband, and he's like, no. Everything, according to him, was stupid. But
but it's just supposed to be like a fun, random, interesting fact.
That's what I said. It's a random fact. But to him, it wasn't cool enough.
It's not a random, interesting fact?
But anyway, no. So, according to him, it's not, but apparently I don't do enough. So, Jacksonville, Florida is the largest city in the continental United States.
Really?
You would think, you would think that big cities... Oh.
Whoa.
Sorry, my Mickey Mouse watch said, hey, guys.
But I guess I'm thinking of like more populated, right? Not as far as like size.
So let me tell you. So you would think the bigger cities in the United States like New York and Los Angeles come to mind, but did you know that Jacksonville is the largest city in the continental U.S., covering over 840 square miles. It's even bigger than some states. So if you're looking for a town with plenty of room to explore, this is the place to be.
O para comprar terreno.
According to visitflorida.com.
Oh, okay.
And then another one, which I thought this one was kind of cool as well. Well, this was the one I picked, and then he picked that one. So
did he know that? Cuando le dijiste? No, but did he know que it was the biggest one?
No, that's why he was like surprised.
Okay, do that one.
Yeah, that's why he was like, oh, wow, that's good. Yeah. Interesting. So then this is also, Jacksonville, Florida is also the birthplace of the Southern rock band Lynyrd Skynyrd.
Oh, cool.
Yes. I knew you would like that one. I like that one too.
Yeah.
So if you're a fan of Southern rock music, you can only discuss this genre? No. ¿Cómo se dice? Genre. Wait, that's not right. Genre empieza con G-E-N-R-E.
Yeah.
Está mal. Eso está mal.
How do you spell it? What would the English language?
Genre. Anyway, by mentioning its legendary band, Lynyrd Skynyrd. And guess what? Jacksonville is their birthplace. In the 1970s, this iconic band took the music world by storm. And it with their first hit like Sweet Home Alabama and Free Bird. So if you're feeling in the rock and roll spirit when exploring Jacksonville, make sure to crank up some Lynyrd Skynyrd for the ultimate Southern soundtrack, according to visitflorida.com.
Interesting. I like those. I like both of those.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So we're going to get started with our case. We are going to be discussing the case of Iyana Sawyer, which is a 16-year-old 10th grader out of high school. And we're going back to 2018.
Oh, apenas.
Apenas, yes. So she was a 10th grader at Terry Parker High School. Iyana was a straight A honor roll student. I mean, she was on track to graduate early. She had already taken a few college classes. She wasn't too sure of what she wanted to be, but she did know that she was for sure wanting to go to college. Mm-hmm. She already had received a few scholarships, even though she was only in the 10th grade. So that's a big deal. Mm-hmm. Her family would often say that she was a definition of I can believe it and I can achieve it.
If I can believe
it, I can achieve it. No puedo hablar ahora.
And you just ate, so it's not like you have it.
No sé, pues estoy meándome a pendeja.
Do you need to go to the restroom?
Maybe I need pumpkin spice latte. Her mom
Do you need some water?
No. Her mom also described her as being her mini-me because her siblings did look up to her. She was one of four, and she was very close to her mom and her siblings, especially...
Her siblings?
Her siblings.
Was she the oldest out of the four?
She was the
second?
The second to the oldest.
Okay.
And she was close to one of her sisters the most because I think that Iyana was, like, at this point, she's 16 and her sister was 15. So they were like almost the same, kind of really close in age. She was also the older cousin. So all of the other little cousins wanted to be around her. They thought she was super cool. Mm-hmm. And she would often take time to be with her little cousins and
jugaba con ellos,
or she would help them study or something like that. So this brings us to December 2018. It was like any other day at high school. Iyana had, at this point in December, been keeping a secret from her mom because at 16 years old, on December the 3rd of 2018, she told her mom that she was pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take a quick break. Persons of Interest is back, and it's bigger than ever.
That scream will echo in my head for many years.
Taser! He's in the shoot!
Oi! Shot fired.
Stay out! You got a gun on you!
He had the perfect aim.
I am absolutely stressed at that point. I have no idea where my officers are.
Persons of Interest available everywhere you get your podcasts.
Obviously, her mom was very upset. She wanted to know how, when, where, like she was...
Like, con quién,
you know? So it was just
A shock, I'm
shock
sure.
for her and her family, for her mom. And the only thing was that her mom was like, how are you going to be able to complete all of your dreams if you're a mother this young? According to her mom, as soon as she felt the first kicks of the baby, she was like, okay, this is it. We're going to focus on getting you through this, right? Mm-hmm. So the reason that I said that she felt the baby's kicks was because on December 13th of 2018, which was only 10 days after they found out that she was pregnant, they went to her checkup and Iyana was already 22 weeks pregnant.
Oh, shit.
And they found out she was having a girl.
22, how much is that
22
months?
weeks, so it's
like
at almost 3, so
like
2.5 months. Like, no.
What?
I mean, 6. Oh, girl, what are you talking about?
You're like 6 months.
6 months.
Yeah,
so a little bit over 5 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's almost in her last.
She's almost in her last trimester.
Third trimester.
Oh, I act like I don't have any kids.
I know.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, I don't know what's wrong with me. It's been a long week. Today was really, really stressful for me. So I'm sorry if I feel a little bit out of it. I'm
telling you just need to drink some water.
No, I don't like water. Water doesn't like me. We don't like each other.
Okay.
Anyway, so then they were shocked. By the way, they actually found out she was having a little girl.
And that she was that far along.
So as soon as... Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So as soon as they found out that it was a girl, they decided they were going to name her Hazel Michelle Mobley.
Oh.
So the baby, they were excited for the baby.
Yeah,
you know,
I'm
Iyana
sure.
and her mom were like, hey, you know, this is going to be a big deal for me, but I'm going to support you. And not only her, but her whole family. Her mom's name is Kimberly, and she was very close to she had, I think she was one of, I think like 4 or 5 sisters as well. So they were all very close. And she said, you know what, we're going to make this happen, even though you have a baby and you're going to.
La iban a apoyar. They were going to, yeah.
So we're here in December the 13th. So Christmas was coming around and they're like, okay, so this is going to be a good Christmas. You know, the baby's going to get the gifts. You know, everybody's excited. They're already talking about how they're going to get together. Mm-hmm. So here's a question that Kimberly, as Iyana's mother, was having. Who's the baby's father?
Right.
Iyana did tell her mom that the baby's father was a guy by the name of Jose. So Kimberly was like, I don't know about this, because Kimberly said they were very close. Mm-hmm. And she's like, there's no way that I wouldn't have noticed that she had a boyfriend, right?
Because, or that she was talking to somebody,
to someone or anything like that. So Jose, which mind you, they had no idea
who he was, right?
Who he was, or anybody that lived around them that their name was Jose. Basically, Iyana's mom had calculated by her months and like how far along she was, that she must have gotten pregnant only when she was 15 years old, which was around summertime of June or July.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay. So she was still 15 at that moment. So around that, Iyana and her sister had been visiting her grandmother in Columbus, Georgia. Mm-hmm. So she's like, there's no way that...
And it was for the summer, so they were out of school.
So she's like, okay, it had to have been when they were over there where they spend most of their summers with their grandmother. Mm-hmm. Since their grandparents were like open to keep them and all of that good stuff. So she's like, okay, but there's no way that it could have been there. So at this point, Kimberly is like, okay, so who is this guy, right?
Yeah.
So the next thing that she started thinking was that maybe maybe she was just kind of covering up for somebody. So she said that she did remember that Iyana had a sexual encounter with a 20-year-old neighbor. Not in Georgia. This is her neighbor from home.
In Jacksonville.
In Jacksonville. And she said that this was a guy that lived across the street from her. And his name is Kamar Humphreys. And they obviously, they had an appropriate relationship. And when her mom found out, she actually, the day that she found out, like, took her to the hospital and said, we're pressing charges against him.
Yeah.
Right? So la llevaron, la checaron, they did a rape kit, mm-hmm. and they found out that they had intercourse. So they were like, you know what? She wanted to press charges. Mm-hmm. So they put him on like the registry, and he
had to register as a sex offender.
You had to register as a sex offender, right?
Yeah.
Pero Kimberly was like, ¿sabes qué? No sé, porque
no cuadraban los dates, right?
Because esto fue mucho antes
She would have been farther along, pretty much.
Right? Yeah. But it was kind of around the same time. So she was like, I don't know. So anyway, there was just a lot going on where Kimberly was trying to, como quien dice, figure out and all of this stuff. Y pues la muchacha no le quería decir, and it was just
she
too
still
much.
wanted to be there for her, and then
and
the
kind
holidays
of just not
were coming
her,
up,
that kind of thing.
So yeah.
So then, she was just kind of was saying, well, it couldn't have been Kamar because Kamar stopped. I mean, obviously he stayed away from her because he was probably like, dude, I don't want no smoke, right?
Yeah.
So at this point,
as it should.
At this point, from December 13th, we're December the 19th. Okay. All of these days passed.
Pasó otra semana.
Everything started off normally. Everybody was getting ready for midterms. They go to school. They all get off the bus. Finals, yeah. They all get off the bus, and everybody gets back on the bus, but Iyana. Okay. So on that day, Kimberly receives a phone call. So I heard in some places que the lady del bus, de la van, le había hablado y le había dicho que se le hizo raro que Iyana no se subió al bus. Right?
Going back home.
Mm-hmm. So then Kimberly was like, wait, no puede ser porque, pues, I mean, she doesn't do that.
Where else will she go?
Where will she go? She's with her sister, whatever. So then she's at work, and so she calls her sister. Y le dice a su sister, which was not working at the time. Y la sister was like, can you go and check to see if you can find her at the school? A lo mejor no se subió al autobús. Anything could happen. So while doing all of this, the Miss Kimberly said, you know what? I can't find her. I'm going to leave. So her sister was actually the one that called the cops and was like, hey, I need to report my niece missing. And
her sister or her niece?
No, her sister. So her Kimberly's sister was the one
so la tía de Iyana.
La tía de Iyana.
Yeah.
Y se fue y le dijo, ¿sabes qué? No la encontramos. This is not like her. And there's like a recording, and in the recording, it keeps saying the tía le decía, it's because she doesn't do that. Her phone goes straight to voicemail. That never happens. It's like you with my daughter. You know that if you call, two rings, she's going to answer.
Yeah.
So if she doesn't, you're like, okay, this is not like her.
Or whatever.
Or whatever, right? Yeah. So then, while she was there, the school security did report that they saw Iyana leave the school around 11. Okay. And there's actually footage of her leaving, and I will show it to you.
Okay.
It was around 11 a.m. She was wearing a pink,
like Victoria's Secret pink,
hoodie, white, and she was carrying her backpack. Y traía una lanyard. Y traía unos light color blue jeans, and she was carrying, like I said, her backpack y dos bolsas grandes en la mano. Okay. So they were kind of like paper bags, así como que llevaba algo.
Like a brown bag?
Kind of like a brown bag. Sí, pero grande. Grande. By this time, Iyana's mom, like I said, she leaves the work. She's like, I have to go find her. It's already late. No la hemos encontrado. And they start to look for her daughter. So she tells her sister, I need your help. Come over. We need to start looking. And they literally, from a lot of the families that I've heard, they were all looking for her. I mean, everybody was moving. Everybody was like doing their own part to see if they can find Iyana, because at this point, they're not just looking for Iyana, they're looking for the baby too, right?
Right. Two people.
So then Kimberly did what any mother would do, because I don't blame her. She started going through her bedroom and said,
oh yeah, of course.
Fuck yeah. I mean, the phone, the bedroom, the everything.
But she had her phone with her.
She had her phone with her, but I'm saying that's what I would do. Yeah. So she went through her bedroom.
You do?
I do. Yeah, I do. I go through her phone all the time.
Yeah.
So I go through her bedroom. They go through her bedroom, and they find out that she noticed that como que había a chunk of clothes missing de un drawer. So then she's like, pero the crazy thing about that drawer es que era los calzones de ella. Como que se había llevado los puros calzones.
Yeah.
So she noticed that, but she was like, okay, but she would have told me if she was running away. Like,
right.
Like she was just trying to figure out what happened.
Was that like a thought already crossing her mind que she had ran away?
The first and the saddest part in this is que hay que hablar sinceros. Most of the time, the cops really do think that they just ran away.
Right.
But she was telling them she knew that she did not run away. There was no way that her daughter would have done that, but that was something that she needed to, I guess, verify with the cops. She did not run away. Something is wrong.
Right. But like you said, stuff was missing from her cajon. So she just couldn't. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So she noticed that that also she had her laptop there. So she's like, I'm gonna go through the fucking laptop because guess what? That's the fuck I would do.
Was it like where you can see your messages are on your phone or also on your laptop?
No, no. Fuck. It's a little bit different.
Oh, shit.
So, I mean, it's 2018.
That's what I'm saying. It's not that long ago.
So the thing is that cuando ella empezó a abrir la laptop,
go through her stuff. The laptop.
There was a Word document that was strange because it was called Jose.
Okay.
So then she's like, okay, this might give me information. When she tried to open it, it was locked.
Okay.
So there's nothing that can red flag you more than a locked something. Because you don't lock shit in my house. I'm sorry. My daughter knows very well you don't lock doors and you don't lock anything. You don't lock your phone.
No more locked doors.
Mm-hmm. You don't lock your phone, bitch.
Oh,
you don't lock
But
nothing.
you do lock your phone.
Well, I'm talking about her because I can unlock it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So anyway, she's like, okay, well, maybe this will give us, some information. In the notes, Iyana spoke about Jose, right?
So what? They were able to open it, or
they were able to open it because her sister knew the password.
Oh shit! Mm-hmm. Okay.
So they were, because I said her sister and her were very close.
Yeah.
So apparently Jose was the supposed baby daddy.
Okay.
Because in these messages, she is like talking about like them having.
Wait, so is it a message or was it the going through text?
No, I meant
the
like
Word document.
Kind of like a Word document.
So it was kind of like a diary?
Like her diary.
Okay.
Pero it was
or
in
journal,
computer.
I'm sorry.
A journal, yeah.
Yeah.
So then she talks about in the journal like this is the love of her life.
Yeah.
Like she's going to marry this man, whatever.
Oh, how old was he?
I don't know
yet.
So then she was writing to him and about their relationship, about how he would betray him, he would betray her, and how there was just so many personal things in there. And this actually dated back to January of 2018.
So that year,
pero
at the beginning of the
year,
right?
So police did interrogate Kamar because they're like, we have to start here, right? Because he had a case against him. So about the day of the disappearance, and he stated that he was out of town. They did check where he was, and he was there was
cleared.
proof. Yeah. So basically, what I was reading was that Kimberly was just could not wrap around the sense of her daughter leaving without telling her she was leaving
with a man.
Like, no, there's no way that she would have left with the man.
Especially after como estabas diciendo tú, they were making plans for the holidays. Christmas was like 4 or 5 days away, and she was going to school. They were getting ready for this baby, so they were going to the doctor.
They were going to the doctor. Her mom was already on board with the baby, so like
they picked out a name.
There's no way that my daughter would run away,
right? And
not only that, but I think that her mom was a little bit more upset because Iyana was so mature for her age. So she knew that was stupid.
Yeah.
She knew that was not the right decision to
make.
They started interrogating Iyana's friends and Iyana's like people that she chilled with or whatever. Mm-hmm. And after they did the investigation, they did speak to one of her friends, and she told them that Iyana was talking about how she was going to go stay with the man for 2 weeks. Okay. According to Iyana's friend, the person that she was going to leave for 2 weeks with was allegedly Jonathan Quillis.
Okay.
Now, who is Jonathan Quillis? Right? Well, let me tell you.
Ay.
Yeah. This was a shock to the family because everyone knew who exactly Jonathan Quillis was.
Really?
Yes, because Jonathan Quillis is Miss Iyana's uncle. Yeah. So Jonathan is married to one of Kimberly's sisters, Miss Naomi Bobley.
Okay.
They have one child, and she was pregnant with her second child when Iyana disappeared.
Okay. So Kimberly, so Iyana and her aunt were pregnant at the same time.
Yeah. So because at this point, they don't know who's the baby daddy still.
No, but she's pregnant regardless.
She's pregnant, yeah. So the time of Iyana's disappearance, Jonathan and his wife were expecting, like I said, their second child, and they had been together for about 5 years. Iyana and her sister would often go over to Naomi and Jonathan's for a few days at a time because they would help babysit her little cousin. Mm-hmm. Because Naomi and Jonathan had jobs, obviously, but Naomi was a truck driver. So she would leave for a long period of time, and, you know, Jonathan would go
Months.
off to work, and then, you know, whatever. So they were there for days. Like, le ayudaban mucho con la baby. So like I said before, you know, once again, Iyana was very responsible, so she was okay, and they were okay with leaving their child with them. So they would come over often. She said, Naomi said that at times, you know, they would take both of the sisters. Decía la mamá perdón, not Naomi, but Kimberly said that they would both go, but sometimes it was just
one of them.
Iyana, because Iyana was older.
Yeah.
At this point, she had been going over to help her with her little cousin for about a month consistently at this point, at the end of 2017. Jonathan broke his femur around that time. So Naomi had to pick up extra shifts porque, pues, you know, she was needing to pick up whatever el otro no podía trabajar, right? At this point, we're in the end of 2017. Jonathan broke his femur going into 2018. So the girls were going more consistently to help with this little cousin. The girls would sleep on the couch in the living room. Naomi did notice at one point that the girls were messaging Jonathan primarily the way of communicating through Snapchat. Okay. Which was kind of odd because, as we know, Snapchat was borra los messages, right? Pero I think that, I don't know if that's changed or not, pero borraba los messages back then, or...
Yeah,
I don't know if it's changed or
no, it's the same thing. Se borran los messages, right?
She thought that it was weird, pero at the same time, she was like, well, maybe it's not like me and you that we text each other. You know, she was like, maybe that was just their preferred way of messaging each other.
How old was he?
At this point, Jonathan is in his late 20s. Like, no, he's a little bit older than that.
Oh, like,
you know, I just realized I didn't even check on that, how old, because como he's a
piece of shit.
I don't really care. So she really was like, I don't know if this is something that is maybe newer, like the younger kids are doing.
Right,
so,
like that's what they communicate with or whatever.
You know?
Yeah.
So they had been communicating with them more often at the early part of 2018. Naomi did ask the girls, okay, Estela, which means that she might have had a suspicion of something.
Right.
Y le preguntó a las niñas if there was something going on with their uncle. Was their uncle, Jonathan, being disrespectful to them? And if that was the case, then she would leave him immediately and her daughter would go. The girl said no. Everything is fine.
But she was, like you said, there was some sort of suspicion.
Right? So then it got to where they found out that Iyana was pregnant, and Kimberly and her sisters had a text group. And one of the sisters, not Naomi or Kimberly, said that they thought Jonathan was the father of the baby. Yeah. Obviously, Naomi pues se enojó because you're talking about her husband, right?
Right. But it's not even that. Like, that's...
Like, even somebody that
that's
would
a 16-year-old,
yeah, that's
you know,
a 16-year-old, yeah. And so then she got upset and she tried to dismiss it. And of course, you know, excuse me.
You good?
They were like, there's no way that my husband could do this. Naomi even brought up the fact that she said, okay, y'all can think whatever y'all want or whatever, but the baby is not even born yet, so let's test him now. Like they wanted DNA testing now or whatever, because she wanted them to stop saying that was his baby. She was furious. So they stopped talking to each other at this point.
Wow.
Yeah, the sisters. So with these accusations of everybody in the family at this point now, not only that, but also the friend saying that she was going to need, and named him by first and last name.
Yeah.
They said, okay, they're going to go straight over there to investigate him. On December 27th, they go over to Jonathan and Naomi's home to talk to them about the disappearance of Iyana. And the interaction with the cops is online. You can see it. A lot of it is kind of chopped off because I don't know if they used it for something or I don't know what happened. But he's out there. He's wearing a yellow shirt. Y también está Naomi, and they're talking to them and they're going back and forth. And Jonathan talks about how he understands that, you know, things need to be checked thoroughly, and that he would say, I had the girls over here often and they were here with us and we took care of them.
He was cooperating.
You know, cooperating, right? And then also you can hear Naomi in the background saying, yes, we were really concerned. We want her to come back. You know, not only that, we're as concerned as everybody else.
Right,
you know,
right.
she even says in the message, in the
Interview.
Les dice al cop, we're not talking to my family right now, but we are just as equally concerned because she's my niece, right? So he even says that at one point, if I knew where she was at, I would have gone to go get her ass myself. He says that, right? So Naomi says, we're even posting on Facebook, trying to find them and my family, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so they go on and back and forth. I think Jonathan was being a little bit too perky for me because we've seen this happen before. So the investigators. So Jonathan mentions to the cop that Iyana was complaining about her mom. Y le dice que he was just telling her, giving her advice. Don't be like that with your mom. You only have one mom. You need to be nice and you have to respect her. And then he goes on to talk about how his situation was rough when he was younger. Y que, that she should be happy that she doesn't have it as bad as he does.
Okay. Or did,
whatever. Then he goes on to tell the officer that he tells her you need to stay in school and be focused, and that he told her that the best way to get out of your house is by going to college. And he's like, oh, really? You said that to her? Le dice el cop. Y él dice, yes, she was really fucking smart. Le dijo él, and then he tells the officer that Iyana did really well in school. He then goes on to say that he did ask Iyana to tell him who the father of the baby was.
Él le preguntó a ella.
Jonathan dice que él le preguntó a ella.
Uh-huh.
And that he said, and then cuando él dice eso, the cop is like, oh, she knows who the baby is? Or you know who the father of the baby is? Y él dice, yes, she knew who the baby's father was. Le dijo Jonathan. So then the cop didn't kind of press it or anything, kind of left it alone. No le preguntó quién. But then he goes on in this, interrogation y empieza a decir cosas como, oh, but I wouldn't believe anything she said because, yeah, I know. After you were just talking about how smart she is.
Yeah.
You go on to say, people are finding out that she's going out with one guy and another. And he started talking bad
about her.
Right? So there's something that was really odd about this because the police, this is where they were like, okay, something's up.
Yeah.
Was that the police asked if they knew that if Iyana had taken anything with her el día que se fue. And Naomi answers that Iyana had taken her Victoria's Secret undergarments. Dijo la tía. Y luego Jonathan follows up with saying, oh yeah, 38 pairs of underwear.
What?
¿Tú por qué sabes cuántos pinches calzones tiene?
Exactly.
What? Why?
I mean, but they had known that it was 38, right? I mean, no. They had known that it was underwear, right? Because the mom knew.
Yo creo les dijo a la sister, pero ella nunca dijo how many.
That's what I'm saying. And I don't even think the mom knew how many.
38.
That's very specific,
That's
sir.
very specific, sir. So with this being said, I know. And anyway, why does your uncle know how many fucking pairs of underwear you have?
That's nasty.
That's disgusting. Ellos
mismos se echan de cabeza.
What the fuck? I don't even know how many. I don't count my daughter's fucking underwear. Who
I don't
does
even know
that?
how many I have.
Yeah, exactly. Los míos están todos rotos. So they go on to tell the couple.
¿Quieres que te compre unos, hermana?
Sí, por favor, hermana. Skims me gustan.
Okay.
No, those airy ones, those are nice. Anyway, So then they go on to tell the couples that they have a warrant. Y él dice, pásenle.
Oh, así bien campante.
Oh, sí. Pásenle. We're here to help. Do you want something to eat? Do you want something to drink?
Cafecito.
Siéntense. No pasa nada, So once this happens, they go in and there's video of them going into the rooms and just looking at everything. And they're like, you know what? I think we need to talk to him a little bit further. So se lo llevan to the police station and they question him there. And once again, they bust out the picture and say, hey, can you tell us where she's at? What happened here? And then even the cop was like, look, we understand it.
Things
happen. Tell us what happened. And he's like, nope. He's like, I already gave you my DNA. I have nothing to hide. Right?
Okay.
What he doesn't know is that the Jacksonville Police Department sent the DNA of Jonathan's immediately and they put a stat on it because guess what? Remember that Iyana had a rape kit done?
Yeah.
Well, there was 2 male samples on the underwear.
Oh.
And one of the male samples was Kamar. And the other one was an unknown male.
Oh.
So the cops were like, okay, we need to find out if that other sample on the underwear
Who it belonged to.
Right? Next thing you know, the cops are like, we put a stat on it. We need it to be immediately. A few days later, it comes back positive to belonging to Jonathan.
Mm-hmm. Or it's a match. Right? January comes around because they let him go. After that, they let him go. They said, we don't have nothing to prove, anything like that. So they let him go. January comes around and they get an unexpected phone call. So this was the shocker of everything. Because Mr. Joseph Quellis, which is the brother of Jonathan. I was about to say, who's Joseph?
Yes,
Yeah.
calls the police and tells them that he has some information to give in regards to the missing young girl.
Okay.
Right? Joseph says that his brother Jonathan called him a total of 4 times. On December the 19th, he wasn't sure if it was the 19th or the 20th, the day that Iyana had disappeared, and that he didn't answer his phone because he was busy. Then Jonathan called, whenever Joseph was able to call Jonathan back, and he was finally able to speak to him, he was telling him that he knew that Iyana was pregnant and that he knew that he was the father of the baby, and that he's like, I need to get rid of the body, right? He then calls back.
Get rid of the body?
The body, yeah.
That's what Joseph said.
Joseph said que le dijo Jonathan.
Yeah.
So then Jonathan was like, what are you talking about?
Right.
I don't know what you're talking about, blah, blah. So le cuelga because he's in a rush. And then Jonathan calls him back, but now he's calmer. Y le dijo, don't worry, I took care of the problem. Right? He goes on to tell Joseph what he did in specifics. Okay, Stella? This is where we learn that Jonathan lured Iyana to the junkyard of where he works. Y le dijo que they were going to go there because they were going to run away. They were going to run away and be together and live out happily ever after. So he knew that Iyana would come without a problem. At this point, he takes her over to the junkyard where there's no cameras and it was very, very little visibility. Allí donde se la llevó. He says that he picks her up from school and that he takes her back to the junkyard where he works, like I said before. While at the junkyard, he said that he was in the car and he started to choke Iyana in the car. Pero que while he was choking, he couldn't go through it. Like como que he couldn't stomach it. So then he took out a gun and shot her in the chest, killing Iyana and her unborn child immediately. He then says that he transported the body into a dumpster. And he said that he did it because his life could not be ruined. It was going to destroy his marriage. It was going to destroy everything. They could not find out that.
But this is Joseph telling the police that this is what his brother told him about what happened that day. Yeah.
So then why do I keep saying so then? Jonathan, según le dice esto a Joseph, but obviously like Joseph is like, I
had to say something.
But then they go to him and say, hey, this was December the 20th. You're coming over here to see us in the beginning of January. Like, what happened?
Right.
He's like, I really did think that my brother was joking. Like, this could not be real. He's like, I could not believe that my brother could have done something
and
like
then
that.
The fact that because I guess, I mean, I don't know cómo era the relationship between them, pero like if one of my siblings or like if any of your siblings be like, yeah, I murdered somebody, and be like,
bitch, 911. No. What is your emergency? Come and get this motherfucker because you know what? I'm not going down with this ass.
Because nobody gives you that many details and it's a joke.
Nope. You're not going to come and tell me you killed somebody. So if my siblings
even
are
if you're
listening,
kidding,
my siblings and my husband's siblings are listening, which I doubt that any of them are, but they are.
In case.
Just in case, I will sing like a little bird. Yeah. So don't tell me it's something that you've done.
Not even playing.
I'm going to tell. Yeah. I'm going to be like, oh, really? Oh, yeah.
Be like, my friends.
My friend. Don't.
Be like, oh, that's my mom calling me. I gotta
go.
Me habla mi ma.
Yeah, me habla mi ma. So now Joseph was just overwhelmed with the information. He said that he was just maybe thinking that he was lying, that it was just too much. And that's why he waited until January to say anything. And the only reason he actually thought that he was like, oh shit, this is real, was because he found out that Iyana was actually missing.
Yeah.
Like he didn't even.
Yeah, because I mean, él es el brother del uncle by law to Iyana. It's not like, I don't know, quién sabe. But yeah.
He also mentions that Jonathan did tell him that he tried to get Iyana to get rid of the baby, to have an abortion. And Iyana le dijo que no. que she was not going to get rid of the baby. So he had to, according to him, get rid of the problem. Joseph le dijo, well, I mean, is this something that just happened last minute? And he's like, no, I've been thinking about this since she did not want to get rid of the baby.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Because he planned this whole thing out.
Yep.
Well, first of all, he fucking groomed her. And I'm wondering, did he do that with the other sister too?
I'm going to get there.
Oh, my God.
Yes. So the evidence that was brought to Jonathan, and they brought him in again, and they said, hey, dude, let me let you know. So remember that underwear, blah, blah, blah. And he has the nerve to say while they say that, he said, oh, yeah.
Like when they asked him,
When
how
they
do you
asked
know?
him, no, cuando le dijeron, oh, you remember the underwear that Iyana was wearing when she had that assault or whatever it was.
Oh, okay.
Y ella le dijo él, oh, yeah, she was very upset because they took that underwear away from her.
How do you know that?
How do you know that?
Right.
Why are you?
Anyways.
Girl. Anyway, so at that moment, they said, well, they go on to tell him that they found that there was DNA of his on her underwear. And he's like, no, there's no way. It's not me.
That's the science, bro.
Science. So the detectives tell him, okay, so just tell us the truth. At this point, now you're saying that Iyana is lying, that because
the science is lying.
And not only that, but your brother is lying too. And they're like, and then he's like, well, I don't know. I don't even know what's wrong with my brother.
Nothing's wrong with your brother. What's wrong with you?
Then they said, well, how did he have all those details
Exactly.
that you said?
How do you know how many underwear she was taking?
Yes,
how do
all
you
of
know
that.
that she was upset that her underwear were taken back in January? How do you...
And then he's like, well,
Mofo.
The thing is, he's like, I just don't know what he was talking about. So Jonathan actually got a text from Joseph, and the text was kind of sad. And I want to read it to you because I want to read it because I want to let people or everyone that's listening, all of our friends listening, know that Jonathan did snitch. I would have done the same thing, but he really thought about it because this is what he said, and I quote, I can't talk to you right now. I have to stay firm with my decision. What you told me isn't a joke or something you lied about. So yes, I told the police because they need to know. I am sorry. I must do the right thing for that girl and her family, not the right thing for you and your selfishness. I would hate to lose you, but I'd rather that girl family have some peace. If you are innocent, then you don't need to worry. Then they won't find a body. But if you are not innocent, they're going to find her. And in that case, I already lost my brother. End quote. So
Wow.
he
I mean, I wish he would have done it sooner, but I'm glad
I'm glad he even did it.
He even said it.
because he could have just kept it to himself. And be
Right.
like, that's not my business. But when he
Right.
saw, like he heard that,
everybody looking for Iyana and that she was pregnant and
I'm
that
telling you, her mom was out there looking
I'm
for
sure.
her daughter.
I know.
Like she was going
I believe
crazy.
it.
Yeah.
And then, like, knowing that it's because he detailed everything that you fucking killed her. Like,
Yep.
you planned it out.
Well, there was more evidence against
Oh, yeah, I'm
Jonathan.
sure. Yeah.
There was more evidence. Oh, wow. There was more evidence against Jonathan. And 2 days later, detectives were able to convince there were some inmates that were there that were kind of like, I guess, working with the cops. They convinced them and said, hey, do you want to talk to Jonathan and wear this microphone and see if he try to get him to talk about Iyana.
Yeah.
And this dumbass did. Bruh, he sang like a little bird. Jonathan
stupid, but I'm so glad that you are that stupid.
Holding back. Yeah. The conversation between the inmate and Jonathan lasted about 2 hours.
Damn.
And he was going on and on about what he had done. He told the inmate that he had used a 9mm gun. He also told the inmate that he shot Iyana because he could not stand the fact that he was choking her. And then he's like, it's okay, there's going to be a lot of trash on top of the body in between the time now and then when they would try to find her. Because so the junkyard was picked up so often because it would take to the
big
landfill.
yeah.
To the big landfill. So he kept telling the informant that it was loud. So he's like, yeah, my job is loud. My job is loud. So like they weren't going to hear if she was screaming. And so then I remember the guy was like, because there's video, recording. And then he was like, yeah, the camera's system there is shit. Like que no se iba a ver.
Yeah, like
right?
it's going to be too grainy or whatever.
He tells the inmate as well that his mom used to work at a morgue when he was younger. So then he knew a lot about body decomposition. So that he knew that by the time that the police would find Iyana, there was going to be very little of her left. He also told the inmate that he had done inappropriate things with Iyana and also with Iyana's younger sister. Yes. The surveillance camera shows Jonathan going to work in a red minivan, and you see him park and get off of the van. Then you see him leave around 11:15, pero without punching out of work, right? And then he was gone for about an hour and 13 minutes. Now, the second time that he comes back, he doesn't park in the same spot, which is where the employees are supposed to park. So at this point, you see the truck or a van, whatever, and then you see him walking past the same parking lot. Driving past this, y se estaciona donde he wasn't parked originally. Then again, you see him drive past the parking lot and park somewhere else. Now at this point, he gets off. And you see him with other employees or whatever. And then you see him in the frame again. And he's walking out of the frame for about 3.5 minutes carrying red tape. Right?
Red tape?
Red tape. Why?
Okay.
I don't know. Then you see him walking towards the office without the red tape now. And he's with another coworker going towards a pile of tires. On December 20th, the trash is picked up.
Okay.
From the dumpster. And it was taken to Otis Road Landfill. Okay. The city spent, this is what the city of Jacksonville stated, that they spent $1.5 million over 3 weeks to go through that landfill.
Wow.
They said that there was almost 80 feet deep trash and nothing was found. All this increased activity happens around 12 p.m. And then, so where you see where he's actually like moving around in the camera and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then you don't see him leave until around 6 o'clock and driving out.
Yeah.
After this, Iyana's little sister. Now, I wanted to say something because you will hear me just call Iyana by her name. In a lot of the documentaries and a lot of the stories in the courts, because there's like a whole story about the courts that were done for her, they don't call her Iyana. They call her IS because of her age. They don't.
Oh, she's a minor.
She's a minor. And the thing is, they're nowhere to be found her sister's name as well.
Yeah.
So that's why you only hear me call her by her little sister. Okay?
But is Iyana like her actual name, or that's
Iyana's
just...
her actual name. Mm-hmm. So at this point, the little sister also confessed that she had also been sexually
assaulted,
abused by Jonathan. She tells her mother that this had been happening since she was only 13. She also tells her mom that Iyana was going through the same thing with Jonathan, basically saying, wow, she was doing it.
What a piece of crap.
So
Shit.
Kimberly also finds out from her daughter that Iyana and Jonathan had been having a relationship for the past 2 years.
Wow.
That she hadn't told anyone, herself, meaning the little sister, because she was afraid that her sister wouldn't trust her anymore. She said that Jose was Jonathan and that the father of the child was also Jonathan. She also said that she was afraid of Jonathan and what he could have done if she had said something or opened her mouth. Her sister, this was bad. It was bad because her sister had to keep this secret. Not only keep the secret of her sister having a relationship, but also being abused by the same person.
And you're so young.
And
she's a baby.
Young. Yeah, she's a baby.
She was what, like 13 when they probably
13,
he like started abusing them?
So at one point, and I know this is going to sound horrible, but at one point, like he would like abuse one little girl and then go and abuse the other one because they were on the same couch.
Wow.
Yeah. Or the other way around.
Yeah.
Like it was pretty disgusting.
Yeah.
January 8th comes around. And Jonathan was indicted and arrested for the murder of Iyana and her unborn child. Mm-hmm. Obviously, he denied everything. We're going to not fucking talk about his stupid ass. He was asked by his wife on the phone. And his wife was like, can you just tell me the truth? I really want to just tell me the truth.
She just couldn't believe it? Or
yeah, she couldn't believe it. She's like, I want to hear from you. And he said that he did want to tell her, but there were a lot of people listening. Not you telling a whole fucking 2-hour story to the fucking inmate, but you don't want to, But anyway.
And
Jonathan,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, they already know. Like, yeah, everybody knows.
Yeah. Jonathan's trial began on September 14th of 2023. He came into the courtroom with a smile on his face, And it's not like he was going, to court because because he actually was being accused of killing his niece. But anyway, the other two things that were on the table were, number one, life in prison, and number two, guess what? You're in the South, motherfucker. Death, right? Because remember, we kill people down here. And they brought in some more evidence besides all of this. They brought in Iyana's phone records. Yeah. So these are some of the text messages that were interchanged between Iyana and her uncle Jonathan. So, and I quote, obviously, there were some Snapchat messages that Jonathan tells her that he was in the other room in the other room in the same house, and that he was going to come over to kiss her. On 9/4/2018, he wrote a text saying, and I quote, I am very aggravated right now. I am going to hit you later.
Oh.
End quote. On September 7, 2018, he wrote, and I quote, yes. Yeah, so I need you to always be like 100% with me. I am so in love with you, I'll kill you and cry. End quote.
He said that to her?
Yeah.
This man is disgusting.
Not only that, but there were some messages of describing intercourse, which I'm not going to go into that. Iyana's mom, Kimberly, did go on the stand. And when she was on the stand, she kind of gave a backstory, a little bit of information of when she found out that her daughter was pregnant. So they were asking her, obviously the defense is always going to be a dick and try to make you feel like you don't know what you're talking about and all this shit. She said, they asked her if she had a feeling that Jonathan was the father, and she said yes. And then they asked her, but you weren't sure that was the father. She's like, no, because she told me no.
Yeah.
And so then they were like, well, at one point you told the police that you thought that Jose was a Puerto Rican or a Hispanic mixed male with African-American descent. And she's like, bruh, I was just trying to throw everything out there. I was trying to find my daughter.
Well, yeah, she gave you a whole different name. Like, why wouldn't you,
Why would you not? Why would you? And once again, we'll go back to the same thing. Like, that was her daughter and she believed her daughter.
Right? Yeah.
So Jonathan's wife, Naomi, also went on to on to testify. And she said that it was a little bit of a change in his demeanor. After he found out that after they spoke about Iyana being pregnant, she said that he could not sleep.
Oh.
And he was restless. No podía dormir el compa. Pero cuando se dieron cuenta that she had been gone missing, he was sleeping like a baby.
Wow.
And calm. Iyana's grandmother also testified that on Thanksgiving of 2018, she said her and her husband were walking outside of the house, como estaban todos adentro comiendo y todo. And when she walked outside, there was Iyana and Jonathan surprised looking at her, and they were hugging. But they weren't hugging like a regular, like
oh,
hey,
¿cómo
what's
estás?
up? No. They were hugging. She said embracing like if it was a woman and a man instead of a niece and
an uncle.
And they also brought in Kimberly's oldest sister, which is Janetta Mobley. And she said that she's the one that called the authorities whenever
they couldn't
Kimberly,
find her. Yeah.
So she said that she gave a little bit of insight of what happened. She told that, she drove by the school. And like I mentioned before, she also said that she went to the school and she started talking to everybody at the school concerned for Iyana. She also stated that she talked to the police officer there at the school, saying how out of character this was for Iyana and that there was no way that she had just left. She was also the sister that started the argument on the family chat diciendo que Jonathan was the father of the baby. And they asked her, why would you say that?
Yeah.
And she said that was because she was able to calculate around the time that she got pregnant, because she said that day that she thinks that was around the time, it was around July the 7th. And July the 7th was her mom's birthday, and they were all together. Mm-hmm. So they think that that's when
it happened.
Yeah, when it happened.
When he abused her.
Yeah. So the second day of the trial comes around, and the officer from the school, which was Officer Harris, she recalls that they came for her to look for her para que buscaran the surveillance camera a ver qué encontraba. And she said that she was going through it, and the only time she saw her besides leaving was around 10:45, where her and her sister were sitting at the cafeteria table and they were arguing. Now she's saying arguing meaning like she couldn't hear them because they don't have audio, pero she said que at this point, like, her sister le decía con las manos que como que algo, como que they were arguing, y que Iyana nada más tenía la cabeza como agachada. So she said that it looked like they were in a disagreement. Now, the inmate, pasen al inmate, ¿verdad? Girl, when the inmate came in and they played the fucking tapes of this motherfucker saying how he did exactly what he did, I mean, literally, you can see the eyes of the jurors. They were like, bruh, there's no way. It's one thing when a fucking inmate comes in and says, oh, este güey me dijo esto, esto,
yeah,
lo
you
otro.
don't really believe
but it's
it.
a second thing when you can hear the fucking voice of this motherfucker talking about lo que él hizo y que and, you know, the whole thing about how he described Iyana's Victoria's Secret undergarments and all of that stuff. So
that's nasty.
There's no way. After all of this, they did not find Iyana's body. Iyana's body was not found.
That's sad.
But let me tell you what was found. While they were looking, they did find some Victoria's Secret undergarments that her mom said that were hers. They were in a brown bag. But this is the kicker. They also found a library book from Terry Parker High School that was in the trash. So
in the landfill?
In the landfill.
Okay.
Yeah. So
that, I mean, it was believed to be Iyana's.
yes. So once again, there was no body, but there was some
evidence.
things. Yeah, evidence. So 8 out of the 12 jury at the jurors. Why did I say jury? 8 out of the 12 jurors turned over and looked at Jonathan and were like, bitch,
you did it.
You're fucking
You're
screwed.
guilty.
Yeah. So he was found guilty of the first degree murder of Iyana and her unborn child on September 21st, 2023. Not only that, but they had a whole separate trial.
Sentencing.
Well, no, yeah, sentencing for what he had done to Iyana's sister.
Oh, yeah, the little sister.
So,
yeah, sorry.
So the prosecutor was looking for the death penalty, but he was actually sentenced to 3 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole. Now, before I finish this case, I want to say something. It was really upsetting to see that Iyana's sister had to sit up there and tell them everything that happened to her, then sit up there again and had to defend why she thought that Jonathan was the person that did something to her sister.
It's like she went through it twice.
And not only that, there was a lot of the things that I didn't include in here because I
too
felt
graphic,
it was too much.
Yeah.
And not only that, but
they're children.
And I mean, her sister was having a hard time, and it broke my heart.
How old was her sister? Like 15? Like,
Yeah,
imagine
and
you going through that. I can imagine that. I can't imagine going through that, in my 30s now. And I imagine going through that at 15.
Yeah. And it broke my heart because, to be honest, I felt like this poor girl was a victim of abuse.
Yeah.
And of, like you said, brainwashing and grooming and all these things. And
Both
then
of
on
them
top,
were.
Both of them were.
Hey, and honestly, I wonder who else he has done that to.
I don't know, but
besides the 2 little girls.
There was a point where there was some stuff where she was writing in those notes que it sounded like she was so brainwashed, so like, because él le decía like, I'm going to live with you forever. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. So she was so like convinced of that she actually would get jealous of her sister.
Wow.
When he would do that.
When he was abusing both of them.
And he was abusing both of them. And the sad part is this, that, I just felt like it was a closure for the family. They never found her body, unfortunately, or the baby. But it wasn't a closure because at the same time, now they have to live with something so horrible in their family. Like, this is their niece's, their cousin's dad. So.
And obviously, Iyana's no longer here.
Mm-hmm.
Her little sister has to live with it. Her mom Iyana's family has to live with it. Her tia has to live with what he did to her nieces.
Yeah.
And she was pregnant herself.
Yeah.
And I just, pobre gente, ojalá que Dios los ayude.
I know. I can't imagine, but I just wanted to make sure that I said that because it was just bad because I felt like they were being, like, everything they were asking her.
And they usually do that, I know that's the defense's job. I don't know how they sleep at night, but
how?
And then the fact that he was doing that in a home where his other child was already in.
Yeah. Not only that, but the fact that he was doing that where he's with family.
Yes.
Like her family,
Like, they
her
were even-
grandma.
Yeah, le hacía eso.
Like,
Yeah.
what is...
No words.
Sick bastard, but we hope he rots in jail. And
he gets it in jail.
Well, he's gonna rot in jail. But I did wanted to show you. So these are the pictures that I'm gonna show Estela of the undergarments that were found, and you see that bag.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's the bag that she was carrying in the video.
So
Yeah,
that's the bag, and then here's the book. Mm-hmm. And then, I mean, how can you go against that? You know, there's a book with the school.
You can
and
lie
then
from the.
right
You can hide
here-
from the science.
And then right here, you can see where Iyana. Oh, what am I doing? Sorry. What in the world? Well, I'm trying to show you, but anyway, Iyana is walking and she's carrying the 2 bags.
Yeah.
And she was at. So this is the case
That's
of
really sad.
Iyana Sawyer, and I really this one was difficult for me. This one was really difficult, and I really hope that people that do this mental, abuse of kids or anybody at that age, teenager, whatever you want to be, you need to have no penis or vagina. So thank you so much for everyone that's listening. Thank you for your support. As always, if you would like to send us a message or if you would like to let us know how we're doing, you can follow us at.
You can follow us on Instagram at Cafecito and Crane Pod. Also, if you would like to download your episodes, you can. That would really help us out. Rate us or leave us a review. We'd really appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much. And we'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.